What's up guys, it's Steve aka Bad Luck FPV from Clover FPV Systems, and in this video I'm going to show you 3 ways to FPV your RC cars with the Clover Cage from easiest to hardest.
There are chapter markers in the description and in the seeker bar if you already know what solution you want to use.
Just in case you don't know what the Clover Cage is, let me introduce you to the best way to truly bash in FPV.
The heavy-duty, hard-mounting, highly modular, quick-swapping carbon fiber Clover Cage.
Compatible with any modern VTX that will fit, designed for the Clover FPV Systems custom line of drones. It's hardcore camera protection for any RC that you want to FPV when equipped to a universal mounting plate with heavy-duty fan. The idea is to create an open-source 3D printable platform that can hard mount to anything, take hits all day, and swap to all of your vehicles so you can use one camera to FPV everything. Designed and manufactured by me here in Minnesota. Check out our custom line of drones and the FPV Everything Starter Kit at cloverfpvsystems.com.
The kit comes with a Clover Cage on a universal mounting plate with a pre-made power pigtail, a heavy-duty fan, an easy mount, a sticky mount, and more. Just pick your VTX and your battery type and bam!
Here's the 3 ways we're going to go over. The stick-on method, using the large surface area mount. Quick and dirty, leaves no trace when removed. Use double-sided tape, stick it down however you like, but don't crash. Camera's going to be a little bit shaky up there, not just because we're mounting to the body, but also because we're so far from the car's center of rotation.
And that's why I say you want to avoid mounting to the shock towers or the hood. The farther that camera is from the center, the more motion there will be introduced into your picture.
The clamp through method, using the easy mount. 1 piece on top, 1 piece on bottom, and you use 4 M3 screws to sandwich it together with the body in between. A much more solid mounting option, but it necessitates drilling 4 small holes in your roof to clamp down with. You're a lot less likely for the camera to come off if you roll or crash, but since we're still body mounting, it's going to have some extra shake. Bringing us to our 3rd method, and my personal favorite, the chassis mount method. Use your computer to model an adapter using our 3D printable catalog, 3D print it, and use the car's existing hardware interface to mount to the chassis of the car. It's the most work, but it is the most solid, the most protected, and the least shake.
When it comes to powering a VTX, all it needs is a DC input, so you can plug a 1 to 3S battery straight into this one. You can also power off of your RX, but I've found this undependable. Most commonly, we're going to split power directly from the car's battery on the ESC side wire using a pigtail or a pigtail connector, with an XT30 extension if needed. From the XT30, it will split off again to your fan and breakout board for your VTX. The breakout board offers plug-and-play compatibility to most HD-ready flight controllers and a hard mounting point for the cables coming in and out of the Clover Cage. The battery's voltage will go straight into the VTX when plugged in and boot up the VTX and fan immediately, so make sure your VTX supports whatever input voltage you're giving it. The fan is 3 volt to 12 volt, which is 1S to 3S. Most VTX support between 3 and 23 volt, which is 1S to 6S, but it's on you to check what your VTX upper voltage limit is. You can use it back on the camera side if you need. For the first 2 solutions, you can also invert your camera and mount upside down on the inside of the body for less shake and better protection.
It's already a lot. Let's go back to number 1. This is the absolute easiest way for you to FPV your RC with the Clover Cage. So your Clover Cage is built and your VTX is installed. Let's screw it down to your universal mounting plate. Move the antenna to the rear position if that's relevant for your build. If you're mounting to the top of your car, you're likely going to want a top plate protector for dipole antennas that's built into this antenna mount. Take out your mounting screw and slide your large surface area wedge into your universal mount and screw in at least 1 mounting screw. Take some Velcro or double-sided tape, the stronger the better, and put the strips that you need on the bottom of the mount. If you're using double-sided tape like I am, don't remove the backing yet. Grab like a 3-inch strip of electrical tape and have it ready close by. Open up your car, and we're going to connect our power adapter. This car already has an XT30 pigtail that I installed. Just ignore that for the purposes of this. More commonly, you'll be using an adapter. So we plug that into the ESC side. We'll plug the XT30 extender into the XT30 pigtail and plug that into your Clover Cage. Get your goggles ready. Please take note that the fan only supports 1 to 3S batteries. Plug the car's battery in and power on the VTX. Put the body back on the car with all the cables routed outside, and with your goggles in one hand and the VTX in the other, move the VTX around the roof of the car until you have a view that you like. Make sure to adjust the camera. We don't need so much view of the sky when we're driving ground vehicles. Once it's someplace that you like it, put your goggles down and mark it with that piece of tape. I'm gonna put it as far back as possible, just because for the balance of the car, we're gonna wanna be close to center. Close to center is always best. You can unplug your battery now, then remove the backing to your mounting tape and press it down onto the surface. Wiggle it around, make sure your tape is getting pressed down in all the spots. Then we're gonna plug the goggles back in. Make sure I didn't put it on crooked. We have achieved symmetry. Now that we've got our Clover Cage placed, we can figure out how we're gonna route power. My biggest suggestion for you here is to avoid wheel wells. If you tuck it up in here, this tire is gonna take that cord out. So grab some electrical tape or preferably something stronger. I'm just gonna cut 1, 2, 3 pieces of T-Rex tape. Put one piece here, one piece here, and one piece here. Just warning you, this is gonna leave your cables a little bit vulnerable. Stick around for more of the methods for when you're ready to commit. Then once you got it all hooked up, connect it to your power adapter, install your battery, use your straps to hold everything down. And place your body on. And you are good to go.
Method 2, the easy mount.
Easily the best choice for body mounting because it makes a super strong connection with the body. You make 4 3mm holes through the roof of your body or wherever you want to mount it. Then you use the included hardware to clamp through the body into the clamping plate. In this case, to give us access to do that, we are going to have to remove the lighting kit. You probably won't have to do this part, that's why we're skipping over it. With your Clover Cage built and installed and screwed down to your universal mounting plate, move the antenna to the rear position if that's relevant for you, and consider top plate protection because we're going to be up top. Slide your easy mount wedge into your universal mount and insert at least one of the mounting screws. And now we have to find our view, so we are going to take the body off.
Please take note that the fan only supports 1 to 3S batteries.
Install our battery if we haven't already. Plug our adapter into the ESC side. Plug our XT30 extender into our splicer pigtail. And plug the XT30 extender into our Clover Cage. Then we are going to grab some tape and cut a good length of it off. We're going to use this to mark our camera position up top when we get it someplace that we like it. Get your FPV goggles ready so that they can be held in one hand while you move the camera with the other. We're going to plug into our battery here and everything's going to power up together. Put your body on. We are going to move the camera around, hold our goggles up to our face. Peeking out of the goggles every once in a while to make sure that we have it in the right position. And once we have it someplace that we like it, we're going to grab that handy piece of tape and make a mark across the front. At this point we can unplug power. You can of course adjust your tape a little bit to make sure that you didn't put it down crooked. And then we're going to use a little trick to make a template. Unscrew your mounting wedge, set your camera aside, pull yourself out another length of painter's tape, place it squarely lined up with the left and front edge. Grab your scissors and cut off the excess. Then we're going to take a pen, might as well just punch them all through. And then since the Clover Cage is symmetrical on both sides, we can just peel that off and set it down exactly where it looks the most straight, lining up its front edge with the piece of tape that we put down. Pick it up and put it down as many times as you need. Take this one off because we don't need it anymore. And then we are going to use these marks here as our template for drilling holes. So you can use a drill. I'm going to use a Dremel. Take the body off of the car to make sure that we aren't going to punch down into any electronics when we do this. And then get to punching. Use your easy mount to make sure that we're good and lined up. And now we have to put it into place. I did notice while I was scoping out this spot that we do have these little roof bumps here. When this is in place, is going to make this really difficult to slide on. So in this case, we are going to implement a 5mm riser. So we just stack that up underneath here. Next thing we want to do is insert the hardware into our squish plate. Then we are going to hold the squash plate through on the other side and screw right into it. Once you get one in, you don't have to hold it anymore. And there you go. And we are ready to mount. Easy.
At this point, we can put the body back on and slide our Clover Cage into place. Now we have to figure out power routing. If you're like me and you consider this to be a little bit more of a permanent solution, then my advice would be cut a hole out where you're going to route power down. This is just to avoid routing power to the outside and leaving the wires vulnerable. You know, since we're already making holes in the body, that's what I'm going to do. When it comes to making holes in bodies, my advice for you is just to make round ones. Square holes have corners, and corners are where breakages happen. Now what we can do is just route our power straight up through that little hole. Gonna add just a few pieces of tape here to make sure that this isn't just flopping around. If you ever need to take the body off, then you have the disconnection point right here. Just tape all these wires together and straight into our camera. You are good to go. FPV Everything. Method 3, chassis mounting. A lot more involved than the other two methods. This one requires some reckless abandon, some calculated disregard, some YOLO energy, because we're cutting parts off and permanently making room for FPV. This one gets me the most enthusiastic because it's my favorite. Cutting out the windshield, cutting through the roof, deleting parts from the chassis, soldering into power leads, making giant holes, all for FPV. And it's not just installing a mount, it's becoming a full-on car modder. But why? The answer is a triangle. Basically, you want the car's features to protect the camera, and you want that camera as low and centered as possible while you can still see. That puts you inside the body on most cars, and when you bolt it down, it will almost never break off, and it greatly reduces the shake introduced to the picture. So inside your goggles and on your screen, you have a smoother ride. Obviously, that's a lot to explain, and we're not gonna get into all of the skills used in adapting to a vehicle here. We're just sort of breezing through these so you can see, and we're gonna cover a little bit of theory to get you started.
If you do want a deep dive, I have a video up on my Patreon of my start to finish process adapting to the Techno ET48.3.
Today we can skip all the design and prototyping portion because we've already got a mount for the HyperGo 14303. And an order came in for a pre-build. Thanks, Tony. Let's build. First, we remove the car's body and find the hardware interfaces for this mount. Here's a good look at the adaptation that I came up with for the MJX HyperGo 14303. As you can see, the mounting wedge is up here, and then it extends down to a plate that reaches out to the front where it can find hardware to stabilize with. The back clamps onto the center brace pipe. On the 14303, it mounts to this hardware point in the front. So we remove the stock screws, and this piece will come right off. We are going to use these screws for the front of the mount. This is intended to mount like this, so we do have to relocate all of these components that are on the center bracer bar.
Now, this is what I would call a highly involved mod for this car. For a ton of builds, it's usually just as easy as removing one part and replacing it with the Clover mount. There I was installing an XT30 pigtail off of my ESC side wires. If you're not a solderer, then you can always just use an adapter.
So that's everything that goes into installing the Clover FPV Systems mount for the MJX HyperGo 14303. Next, we're going to slide a camera on and make sure that it's working. All right, looking good. There's only one problem. It is way too dark to see through this windscreen. Next step is to do any modifications that we have to do to the body, including cutting out the windshield.
You can use the technique I'm about to go over to cut a hole in the roof of the body if that's what's needed for your build. So the method that I use to cut out my windshield or any large hole that you're going to put in an RC body is to use a large bore drill or Dremel and make a hole at every corner. Then use a razor blade to connect the tangent of each of those circles. This will give your plastic the best odds of not splitting from your cuts.
Do yourself a favor and use a fresh blade whenever you do this.
Here I'm going to speed the footage up so you can see the whole process, but go slow with this. Go slow and make repeated cuts with a fresh blade connecting the holes by their tangent. Avoid making right angles and try your best not to slip or overshoot. as that will start cracks that will slowly grow. If you have any sort of thickness of plastic on here, then I do recommend against just plunging a knife in and trying to draw it through, because you're going to end up with weird looking saw marks. If you're going to do any move that requires a lot of pressure, then just try to bias your mistakes towards the material that you're going to cut out. In this case, the windshield itself. Here you can see me pushing the material so that it breaks apart at the seam of the cut that I've made, and I actually recommend against doing that. It will always be a cleaner cut if it's made with the blade. And here I am just using the razor blade to give it the final touches.
And with all of that care and hard work, you now have a Basher approved FPV RC that you can take out into your local spots, your local racetracks, and bash, flip, roll, and turn rubber all day long in FPV. And you can take that camera off and use it on all of your other RC. FPV Everything.
This has been 3 ways to mount using Clover FPV Systems. I'm Steve, aka Bad Luck FPV, hoping more than anything that this video has given you the confidence you need to FPV your RC. If it has, please give this video a like, make sure you're subscribed. I hope I answered all of your questions. Comment below if you have anything. Tell me what RC you're going to FPV, and share this video with a homie who you think needs a Clover Cage. The FPV Everything Starter Kit is available to customize and purchase at cloverfpvsystems.com, where the Clover Cage and all of the 3D printable parts are available for download for free thanks to my patrons. Print them yourself and fully customize the entire 3D parts library to suit your build. Clover downloads will always be free, but if you want to support what I'm doing, then please join our Patreon and get all videos early and exclusive merch. I also offer pre-builds. Anything that you want to FPV, let's build it. Fill out the custom build form on the website, let's make your dream vehicle. And then come race. Seriously, I'm just a guy who's lucky enough to be able to do this, and I want to race with you. In my yard, at the local, at Castle Crash. Speaking of Castle Crash, speaking of Sassafras, Clover FPV Systems is going to be a huge part of Castle Crash 2026. We even have our own flight line and an FPV RC race course. Come on by and meet me and a bunch of other FPV pilots on the scene. We also just dropped a line of merch inspired by Castle Crash's 2026 theme, Cinco de Flyo, with this dope sugar skull graphic made by Team Pilot Toasted Frog. The link is in the description. I am here for you in your journey, and so is our community. Reach out to me using the chat feature on the website, at my email, or the absolute best way to get the help you need is to join our community on Discord. Thanks for watching. Persist and be peaceful. I'll be here for you in the next video.